All right, guys, welcome back to the struggle with Candice Thompson.
What is that voice?
It's my smooth jazz radio voice.
That
What are we? I've done that before, haven't I? No.
Not in a while.
Guys. Hey, guys. You remember when radio had late night and they play the smooth jazz like jams from like my favorite old song they used to play super late at night? I don't know if you guys remember. Do you guys know who Lenny Williams is? He sang a song, but it was called "Because I Love You," and it was like literally 8 or 9 minutes long.
Because I love you.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, no, it was a project, but that
can't squeeze all them notes into just 4 minutes like a regular song.
No, and the monologue that he had a full on like 2-minute. Sometimes, girl, I
Wow.
stand outside your door and I knock, but my knocks go unanswered, and then I get my car in the driveway and I honk my horn. But you pretend to be sleeping. You don't hear me, girl.
Like my nigga, I saw the
Literally. I highly recommend everybody looking up Lenny Williams's "I Love You." You will not be disappointed. I had this on a cassette tape. I remember when I was young, and I would just listen to it because that guy.
You had to turn it over in the middle of the song.
Yeah, it was like it only had 4 minutes on the first side, and you had to flip it over to finish it.
Turn it over to side B.
For the rest of this song, flip it to the B side.
The riffs. So stupid. All right, where was I? You guys, welcome back. You know what this is. I have my friends on and we talk about, normally we would talk about things that we were struggling with, but since everyone's struggling with the same thing, right now with this pandemic and race war, we're just here to make you laugh. So if you have not subscribed, make sure you do that on all podcast platforms. We are available. Rate and review us on iTunes. I'm also posting these on my personal YouTube page, which I'll post that link. Subscribe there. And if you haven't told someone about the struggle and you are enjoying this, pay it forward and tell somebody. 'Tis the season of giving. All right, guys. Now I'm going to, Jokes by Candice on social media. Now I'm going to introduce my co-host, who looks like his lips are kind of not as moisturized as they normally are.
Then he LL. He hit the LL on him.
The LL lip.
Is that better?
Yeah. Just gonna dry him out more. That's why I never supported that LL lip. I never supported it. And that's what is what.
He had lip gloss right next to him. The lip was just to look sexy, and then he was like.
He pulled it out, spread it out. Mal.
Hey everybody, malhall.com, at malhall on social media, malhall TV on YouTube. My cocoa butter is in the bathroom, so I can't. You're just going to have to deal with chapped lips if you're watching this on YouTube. But if you're listening to this, you're just going to have to assume that, my lips are chapped as I'm speaking on this episode. Candice?
They didn't look chapped to me. They just looked not as shiny as
parched.
I've seen them in the past. Correct. Now,
Parched.
I'm going to put a pin in the cocoa butter because I have a question about that. And I'm going to introduce our guest for the day. This man is so funny. We'll talk about how we met and whatever. But he's delightful. And I'm so happy our paths have crossed because as you'll see in the rest of this episode, we're going to be talking about our connection that extends much farther than just the comedy community. Aston Wallace is here today.
Hey!
At Fast Ramon on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make no sense, but that's how you find me, Fast Ramon.
Fast Ramon. Every time I try to look for you, I start putting in your name, and it doesn't. And I keep forgetting.
I like my social media. Despite how I look and speak, I have a very professional life, and I don't want my people there. Like I got like 2 different things. It's like comedy. I'm like Fast Ramon until that makes my money. And then
then I'll make the switch.
And now I don't know if y'all need to look me up over here, seeing what wild stuff and be like, should he represent me? I don't.
That's right. Aston's a lawyer, so there's that. Not only being
okay.
a hilarious comedian, he's also a very talented lawyer as well, and will probably need to represent me at some point in time over the next 6 months. Because when I get this gun, shit's going down. Now,
Wow.
These are the times.
when I refuse to get vaccinated, I might need your help, Aston. Now, wait, before we get into that, I wanted to, Mal, you just put straight up cocoa butter on your lips?
Yeah, because I normally use Dr. Bronner's the chapstick,
Yeah.
but I ran out, which is a testament to how expensive that chapstick is.
You made it all the way to the bottom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not losing. This chapstick cost me $17,000. I'm using it.
Do you know to use your little pinky nail to scoop out the little bit that's below the rim there?
Yeah. I grew out my pinky nail specifically.
17,000, the same as if it was $17. Like I thought you were just saying 17. I was like, what? 17,000, same reaction.
Oh, no, Aston would slap me if he knew what I spent on stuff like beauty stuff, and you would punch me in the face.
I spend whatever, like if you get to the counter and I'm like, my lips is dry. Just give me the one you got. That's how much I spend.
the one in your pocket, girl. Just give me that one.
Give me that one.
He's like, yeah, I don't care if it's used. Just give me a can. Yeah. You probably still put Vaseline on your lips and face, don't you, Aston?
If they are around.
Yeah.
If it's the closest thing, then yeah.
I put Aquaphor on my lips sometimes.
Yeah.
Aquaphor is great, but I have, me being the hyper vegan, I've completely switched to using mostly natural, like petroleum. And there's literally all Vaseline is just petroleum.
Yeah.
I mean, it says it on the tub.
Yeah, it doesn't even hide it.
I bought my own Vaseline in years, but my dad when I go home, I'm like, where's the lotion? My dad's like, just put some Vaseline on. Like, shiny. Everybody's shiny.
And you're like, first of all,
just slide out the door.
I'm not going to use this communal Vaseline. Who else? Who's been using this tub if you just offered it up to everybody that
come in the house? You need some Vaseline?
You just have a tub by the door where everyone takes off their boots.
Nice to meet you. Would you like some Vaseline?
I would like some Vaseline. Not too far off. And then he had the nerve the last time I was home. He comes down and I'm shiny as shit. And he was like,
why are you so shiny?
And I was like, you gotta put Vaseline on. Like, this is what you told me to do. There's no lotion in this house. It's Vaseline. He's like, oh, I'm supposed to rub it in. It's like, shut up. Don't rub it.
It's like, I did rub it in. It's Vaseline. It's like, remember Gordon Gartrell on Cosby Show when Theo, did you ever watch the Cosby Show, Mal? He, had a strange upbringing where he didn't watch popular television.
You didn't watch the Cosby Show?
I've seen a handful of episodes. I grew up in the country without any cable until I was like,
which country?
18.
Here.
Outside of San Diego.
Here.
They had NBC outside of San Diego.
Yeah, but we didn't have a satellite dish or an antenna. It was that far out in the country where it was just like
they just pick up the TV channels.
Yeah.
So
cable, but
yeah.
I had a real country upbringing. I learned a lot of shit late.
Mal's 90s trivia, pop questions, anything like that. You're wasting your time.
But we out here trying to do the survival shit we talking about. We ain't gonna know what to do, and we gonna be like, oh, tell me about the Cosby Show now. That episode gonna stay here?
Exactly.
How good is your Cosby and your Saved by the Bell trivia now, Candice? Yeah, Mal knows I'm gonna show up on his doorstep because I have to flee. Just know, I have a bag ready to go.
I'm showing up whoever got guns. I got like 2 neighbors who I already told them. One neighbor got 4 bags packed. They're like, I got 4 bags by the door. And then my next door neighbors was just like, I shouldn't point out which my next door neighbor. I want to give them up.
You don't want to snitch, right?
But he was like, we just got a gun. And I was like, oh, all right, bet. So when it goes down, I'm going to see you, and I'm going to go see you. So one's at the door. Hey.
Is that Sophie?
Yeah. Nobody.
So one neighbor has the gun, and then you're bringing the intimidating
Vaseline?
ass dog.
And the Vaseline.
Mean ass dog.
Yeah.
Just jokes.
Yeah.
Jokes and trivia.
Yeah.
And your dad shows up. I brought the Vaseline.
I brought Vaseline.
Y'all might have to fight somebody.
I had a friend growing up who I'm sorry, I just love talking about Vaseline. My friend told me that his mom would put Vaseline on his face when he would ride just in the wintertime, or I guess whenever it was, he needed it. And then he would ride on his bike to school, and then little bugs would get stuck to his face
Like his face was a windshield.
His face was the stickiest windshield ever.
That is correct.
Those bugs did not die. They just got impaled into Vaseline.
Still moving.
They're like, ah! Ah!
Vaseline, I enjoy talking about it. I will say that it is inconvenient. What month did your dad do this with the Vaseline? Was it summertime?
That was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, so it's recently. And, and I'm sorry, where did your dad live again?
Philadelphia.
So it's cold. You can't.
Cold now, but no, this is year round. It's a year round thing. It's not like a do it for protection. It's not. It's just Vaseline. It's an old crusty ass jar of Vaseline. This time, I will give him this. This time, the last time I went back, they had creamy Vaseline.
I've seen that, and I've used it before in my younger days. Yeah.
I appreciate it more than just the.
For sure. The problem with the Scoopy one, which is, I guess you could say, is the same problem with the with coconut oil, is that when the temperature changes, it actually got so hot one time in LA that I came home and my Vaseline had melted. That's how hot it was. But then when you're in the wintertime, it's so thick that you can't.
Yeah.
That's why it's so shiny on your face.
Like warm it up in your hand before.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to chisel it out.
Go in a couple minutes.
Working on this Vaseline Play-Doh here. Hold on a second.
You gonna be
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I could talk about Vaseline this whole hour, but
Vaseline hour.
Welcome to the Vaseline Hour with your host.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start another podcast. That was the last thing I need to do. I already have too many.
Your podcast. Everyone needs more.
I do. No, I refuse. I wanted to talk about Aston and how we met, and how our friendship we've grown closer over quarantine due to circumstances. So Aston and I met. We were doing New Negroes when New Negroes was at UCB.
Yeah.
Baron.
Happy birthday, Baron Vaughn. Happy 40th birthday.
It is Baron's birthday.
Yeah.
So it was Baron that actually was the person who brought us together initially. And I remember hearing Aston's set and being like, who is this guy? Super funny. I was like, why have I never heard of this person? But you've only been
one on that set with no blue check mark or no, y'all had like big credits. Everybody thought they were about to do something. Tell him was what? But no, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I said to Bear, I said, who is this guy? Why have I never heard of him before? And he was like, oh, it's Aston. He's great. And I don't know how often we communicated after that. I think it was
Dave Hellam's show next.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and a few shows around.
That sounds about right. And then you had me on your show. You did a show in West Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I think we just had connected on social media. And then this is what brought us together during quarantine is I can't remember what post I posted on Instagram. It was one of my Instagram stories. I don't know if you remember. I don't remember which one it was.
I don't remember which one it was, but it was one of the ones that he was like, oh, okay, you over here. Yeah.
It was probably either like the Kanye one, I don't remember, because of how the media flipped what Kanye was saying when he was doing that Harriet Tubman speech, and when he says stuff like slavery is a choice.
And I'm very happy to like jump in and like argue and defend Kanye like all day. Oh, shout out to my podcast. I'm bringing that back soon. Fuck politics, religion, and Kanye.
Oh.
I talk about politics and like defend Kanye for like an hour every episode. So I think it was the Harriet Tubman John. Yeah. So,
it may have been that, or it could have been. I love telling people that they're hypocrites because like you're telling people to wear masks all the time and social distance, but you can't put down a bag of Cheetos. Like, where are we gonna? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really cared, like, do something to eat healthy, exercise. Like, I need to see that from both sides. I need to see if you really care, then put down the soda and the fast food. And I understand, yes, I'm not being like that. Can sound callous to people who don't have money, who can't afford. But at the same time, it's like I'm not talking about those people. That's a whole separate issue.
Going if we're talking about all the things that we can do to stop ourselves from getting sick, then you would think that obviously we'd be like, hey guys, listen, I'm sorry, we need to have a health lesson real quick right now. These are a few simple steps you could take to boost your immunity.
Yeah. This,
right? Like,
this is a salad.
This is the sun. Like stand outside.
This is water.
I understand that soda has water in it, but it is not water. You have to drink water.
Uncut water.
Uncut.
Hot dog. H2O.
So yeah, I feel like it was one of those posts, one of those kinds of posts. Because I like to, try to open people's minds up and my whole thing, my whole jam is like, and it's just true, but we've been brainwashed and we just don't know because they suppress this information, but our bodies are absolutely equipped to handle disease. Most diseases. Actually, I was going to say all of them. The problem is that we put too much crap in them for them to do what they're supposed to do. We create acidic environments in our bodies, and then the next thing you know, when you get sick, your body can't do what it's supposed to do to combat it because you put other crap in it. So cleanses, fasting, all that good stuff is really healthy for you. But so I posted something like that, and then Aston, you slid into my DMs, and I don't remember what you said, but it let me know. I was like, oh, he gets it. Like, you said some shit like, Candice, you can't be posting stuff like
that. Or they gonna come get you, or they gonna call you crazy. I just got like one of my lawyer friends. We were arguing, and he was like, everyone we know thinks you're crazy, and I was like, you think I give a fuck? But I was like, do you know what I think about what y'all think? Do you think y'all are the line for? I'm like, I know that I feel if y'all all agree with me tomorrow, I'd be like, hold on, I'm missing something.
What did I do?
I was like, what do you?
So, just to clarify for people listening and watching who may be a little lost. So basically, Aston and I see very eye to eye when it comes to what a lot of people would call conspiracy theories. Now, I've also said this on the podcast before, but like the term conspiracy theorist, it's used as a pejorative and it was given by the CIA to discredit people who were asking questions about things they shouldn't have been asking questions.
It worked exceptionally well. It's like a really good tool that they created to dismiss people
who are just
conspiracy theories.
Right.
I was talking about the vaccines the other day, and my friend's like, why won't you get the vaccine? I was like, for starters, they only been working on it for 8 months. And he goes, oh, so conspiracy theories. I said, time is a conspiracy theory? It's just been 8 months. That's not a conspiracy theory. like I've got conspiracy theories. I got deep conspiracy theories, but that ain't one of them. You know what I mean? Like, not enough time. Oh.
Everyone being a little
9/11 either.
Yeah.
Please put a
pin. I was like, I don't, but that's not the same.
Put a pin in that. We'll discuss that. But like being dubious about the vaccine is not a conspiracy theory. Like a lot of people have voiced concerns about this being rushed, And if you know how long it normally takes for them to develop a vaccine in general, you would say, yeah, 8 months doesn't sound like it's the correct amount of time to do that. But yet people are still like, so I think I did talk to you on Twitter about this, or not Twitter, I text you about this because there was a chick who I had posted on my Twitter, like somebody had made a graph, a guy who sounded like he knew what he was talking about. Like he had charts and graphs and statistics about the transmission of COVID and why the shutdowns of eating outdoor at those restaurants was completely unwarranted because the transmission was like so low from that type of dining. So I like just retweeted that on my timeline. And this chick who's like an open micer chick who like, she's like one of these people that is not great at stand-up, but figured out Twitter.
Yeah.
Figured out Twitter because she does all the woke PC. She talks about her pussy all the time and thinks that's women empowerment. And I'm just like, bitch, calm down.
It's so funny that like I'm not even gonna go further. I'm not even gonna confirm and just know that I know who
you know who I'm talking. You know, and he knew just from what I said. Like she's not very funny stand-up wise, but
I'm not gonna agree with you just in case she watches this and knows that we're talking about her. I'm not. Listen, she's very.
I hate you. I'm going to go ahead and say I don't give a fuck because she's already on my list.
But she also
nothing more woke than a girl talking about her pussy. So
I'm so woke. I'm such a feminist because I talk about my period and guys licking my pussy while I'm on my period. I'm like, nobody wants to see. That was an actual tweet.
But also,
and I'm like, nobody wants to see that.
Also bisexual.
Wait, she is?
Of course.
I mean, for the cause. For the
of course. She probably just became I guarantee she's bisexual over the past like 8 to 9. She probably became bisexual during the pandemic. I don't doubt that.
Some people learn how to make sourdough. She became bisexual. Cool.
Yeah, just for the tweets.
Yeah, so she's very very like, and I will say she does have a background in science, and I think she has worked with infectious diseases before. I don't exactly know what her job was or what her title was, but she does seem knowledgeable. Yeah, but so, what's that?
She's a researcher.
Oh, she's a researcher. Okay.
Scientist, so, like a lot of research, yeah.
Okay. So I retweeted that tweet about the chart about how the transmission through outside dining was like, you know, negligible. And so she then slid into my DMs and was just like, hey, just curious, because I trust the science. And like we're talking paragraphs of, and I'm just like, okay, well, thank you for the information. Good to know. And then she continued, she started then talking about the vaccine and like, well, the vaccine, it looks like it's going to be very good and blah, blah, blah. And I mind you, this is unsolicited. I didn't ask for any of this information. After she gave me the information that she told me about all the outdoor dining, whatever, I was like, okay, whatever. Then she then starts talking about the vaccine. And I was like, yeah, I'm good on the vaccine. And then she comes back and is like, what do you mean? You're not going to take it? And I was like, yeah, nah, I'm good. And then she kept, do you mind if I ask why? And I said,
I mean, one, I do. I do.
Yes. I was like, yeah, no. I was like, I am not interested in taking the vaccine. And then she goes, oh, I'm just trying to understand your logic. And I said, the thing about my logic is you don't have to understand my logic.
Yeah.
Like she was so condescending. Well, I trust the science. And then, so then I, of course, then had to put a thread out about trusting the science and how it's gone wrong numerous times when we're talking about the Tuskegee experiments, when we're talking about the Mississippi appendectomies that they were doing to women in the South when they were going in for an appendicitis. They had appendicitis and got their...
Like any pharmaceutical company ever, like you can just go to like, we'll just use Pfizer for an example.
Man.
Just go like lawsuits Pfizer and you'll see they have the largest payout ever by a pharmaceutical company. You see they have like numerous times where literally they cut corners on their research leading up to distributing vaccinations as well as different types of medications. Yeah. And so you're like, yeah, okay, trust the science, but science like the thing that scientists will argue if they're talking with like an atheist, right? I mean, not an atheist, like a religious person. If they're arguing like science versus religion, they'll argue that the point of science is science doesn't have all the answers. Science is telling you the best of the information that they have at the time. And that's what science is, which isn't infallible. So like that's like by virtue of science.
Right.
You're right. So I was arguing with my homie the other day about this, and he keeps going like, "Oh, you think he's smarter than a doctor?" And I'm like, "Well, one, some doctors, yes."
Yes. Just because they went to school for it doesn't mean I couldn't have also gone to school.
2010 that wrote me my weed prescription saying I could go get weed that was operating out of Melrose, like off of, next to a coffee shop. That nigga's a doctor. So like let's not just make that the line like right there. I've deposed doctors. Like I've had depositions with doctors. Some of these niggas is idiots.
Yeah,
so,
I believe it.
So I'm not going to just say, cause you this, you that. Like,
right.
like we can talk about your credentials and then we're now at a different place. But that also doesn't make your research infallible. It doesn't,
right.
There's no something, this is like the one thing that no one can argue. There's no conspiracy to it. I don't have to go back to their past. There's no substitute for time trials. Period. There just
Right.
isn't.
Yeah.
Like, right? And then now we're in a position, like, because we're America, and we have like way more deaths than anybody else. Like everyone, like my homie, we're arguing about this thing. And he keeps going, did you know 3,000 people died yesterday? And I go, what the fuck does that have to do with what they did with the vaccine? Like I can take this thing seriously over here and also still be like, no, I want more research. I need more answers. So we could be like Australia, who didn't fail in their response to this thing. In Australia, they got their first vaccine and they was like, nah, you know what? We gonna chill on that one. We don't like the results. Why don't you go back, do some more research? We got this under control because we did what the fuck we were supposed to do. So we can take our time and do this in a safe way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are in a position where our administration is literally threatening that, like the FDA being like, yo, y'all need to get this approved by Friday or else.
Right.
Yeah.
So of course they're gonna say, oh yeah, it's ready.
Yeah. So like I'm like and then the fact that we're only in this position because we failed to handle anything around this whole thing. Now you expect me to go, but you know what? I'm gonna trust they roll out of the solution,
right?
Off the first one that you rushed from and I'm not even gonna say 8 months because the truth isn't 8 months. They've been researching this type of vaccine for like 20 years.
For sure.
They never approved it. Because for the last 20 years, it was never stable enough. But in the last 8 months, they did this rush research. They wrapped the little thing that they put in there in a new thing that's supposed to make it stable. So they think, but they've only had 8 months to test that. So they literally don't know how stable like that is.
Right.
And that's not a conspiracy theory for me to go like, you think you know more than a doctor. I'm like, I think that I, like any doctor, can't tell what happens in 10 months if I've only had 8. There is no substitute for that.
You can't.
Like you can trust the science all day, but trusting the science, it's not all the answers.
Yeah, no, science is fallible for sure. And the person who is doing the science, you mean man, is also fallible.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about? And we haven't even discussed that vaccines that they've also had for years now are also hurting people. Ones that they took the time to do 3 to 4 years of development on are still hurting people. And why that is
another thing. Like you would take this vaccine. I was like, first of all, no, I wouldn't.
No.
And they still ain't get those right. So like, why do I trust this one?
It's infuriating. And the fact that saying I don't want to take a vaccine is controversial when it should be, look, your body, your choice, just like the left says when a woman wants to kill a baby, your body, your choice, right? Why is it now you're forcing everybody to take this vaccine or you're a bad person? I thought it was my body, my choice.
And it's the
like
same,
that doesn't make sense.
Right. It's the same group that made that argument.
Yeah.
And like, and here's the thing, like Pallavi came to you, right?
I didn't, unsolicited.
I ain't got no name.
Oh, I forgot, like you said it.
People came to you and asked you what your opinion was, right? Like that, and that's like the people who have come to me. I made one post about it, and my homie came to me, and I was like, "Yo, first of all, I was like, go on, take the vaccine if you want to. I ain't even arguing with you.
Yeah, go ahead.
how are people supposed to trust your argument? What is your argument? I'm like, I ain't arguing shit.
You came to me.
I was gonna do. I did not come to you and argue anything. Go take the vaccine. And he's like, well, I think you're selfish. I straight up didn't ask you. I ain't asked you shit about what to do with myself. Nothing.
And how is that selfish? How is that selfish?
Because they convinced them that they are like fucking doing their civic duty the same way that they called me selfish and made me and bullied me into voting for Joe Biden because it was selfish if I didn't do everything I could to get Trump out of office, which I did. I did little shits.
Right.
All right, I'll go check your little box, but now you're not going to do the same bully tactics to me. Like, this is for the good of everyone. Right. You have to do this. And I'm like, you don't even know it's for the good of everyone. You're asking me to take a risk with my life.
Right. So
the problem is, it's like this time that we're living in, everything is polarized and people can't respect other people's opinions and just leave it alone at that. Like, Candice is allowed to think whatever she wants to think. Like, all three of us are allowed to think whatever we want to think. It's not an attack on you because I think something different than you.
Right.
Like, it's wild that people would fucking attack you for after asking you, oh, what did you mean by this? And then I tell you, the response should just be like, okay, cool. So now I know why you think that. Like, I'm not.
No, that's not it's and this is why it's scary, is because, and people don't understand this, but like, we're getting to the point where everyone has to think alike. And if you don't understand why that's dangerous, where it's like you're outspoken and like I had to send him. I was like, Aston, am I gonna get canceled if I tweet this? And like, we should just be in a day and age where if it's not like you're attacking somebody or a group of people for something they have no control over, like even that, do it. I don't care if it's just words. It's not gonna hurt anybody. So like, it's freedom of speech, and we are losing that. And if we don't see which direction this is headed, the censorship, the way that they have been pulling down, and the QAnon people, I'm not QAnon by any means, but the way that these people were posting on Twitter, and then all of a sudden their shit just gets banned from Twitter because
like, I hate a slippery slope argument. Mm-hmm. But in this case, like, and you're starting to see it now, right? Like, as soon as they started just way back in the day banning hate speech, you know, like off the thing, and they get to determine what the hate speech is, or determine what a right opinion is, or determine, and then they got people doing it because, like, yeah, this is horrible, awful, hateful stuff that they're saying, and we got to get rid of it. And I'm like, yeah, but wait till they start turning it on the stuff that I like, right? Like, I think some shit is wild.
Exactly.
Like, I don't want, like, there to be arbiters of truth, with that truth not being like, unless it's like, no, like, first of all, you just get to say whatever. I mean, and if you want to, and obviously these platforms have reign to decide what they can have on there, but I think it's dangerous once we start going, no, this is bad, we can get rid of this. Right. Because it's going to just start coming for other stuff.
Right.
Too.
Well,
the same way they're using it to attack sex workers.
Right.
Like, the same rules that they're using to get rid of the right and all, like, the hate speech. They're going to use the same stuff to get rid of sex workers. They're going to use the same stuff to get rid of, like, the whole holistic movement.
Yep.
Which are, like, you're already seeing now. Because, like, now there's, like, I know personally during this whole thing, there's, like, people think of it as, like, the left is just vaccines and masks, and the right is no masks and whatever. But really, it's a few different movements that feel differently about it. So,
for sure,
like, the people I talk to mostly are like you, Candice, who are like holistic. They're like, listen, I've been eating healthy. I've been on my fast. I've been eating vegan. I do my yoga. I go out and get my sun every day. I ain't been sick in a decade. I haven't done any of this, and I'm not going to start doing it now because y'all can't take care of yourselves in the way that I do.
Right.
And they'll get dubbed like, what are you, a Trump supporter?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, people just can't have those separate opinions. Yeah. And it's the same way that people are like, how can you be friends with this type of person? And I was like, I don't know, because they're fine and they're allowed to have their opinion.
Because they're a good person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people are just single, issue voters. There are some people who don't support or like what Trump does, but the simple fact alone that, let's say, for example, that they're pro-life and not pro-choice, they would vote conservative just for that one thing. And, and so that's the thing, is we are so quick to just judge and label and discount and say, oh, you're disposable now because you voted for this person. Like, it's very dangerous territory that we're heading down. And once, like you were saying, the left is so fine with like all the stuff that's being censored now because it's right and stuff that they disagree with. But like you said, it's going to start moving over to the left. The shit that they support is going to start being censored as well. And then you're going to be like, oh, now I have a problem with it?
Yeah. That's the whole reason I started my my Kanye podcast, because I started right after Kanye put on the MAGA hat, and he was basically like, all black people don't need to be Democrats, all black people don't think the same, da-da-da-da. And the collective opinion was like, oh, Kanye's a coon, we're all Democrats, why would you be Republican? And so I started my podcast, and my first probably 10 episodes, I had nothing but black men on there.
That's great.
And I just wanted and we talk about politics, we talk about religion, and then we discuss Kanye. And the whole point is to come to that we all do have different opinions. And the idea that everyone's a monolith, I couldn't, in 10 people, not all 10 of them all thought the same stuff. One's going to be against guns, one's going to be for guns, one's not religious, one's pro-life, one's pro-choice. Literally everybody feels differently about a million different things, but we're supposed to all be in these boxes. And if you're in this box, you have to believe these things.
No, and that's the beauty of America, or what was America, that's now slipped. I'm sorry, we're slowly and steadily heading to socialism and communism. I see it happening.
I mean, I don't even know which one of those is the bad one.
I don't either.
Right? I don't know what direction we're going in.
We won't know until we get there.
Yeah,
but
I think communism is a bad one.
I agree. I think I lean more towards, I think, just from what I have heard from people whose parents have fled communist countries, and all the heinous things that have come out of the Communist Party. But I mean, that's all the heinous things that have come out of capitalism. There's awful things.
I mean, I'm a hard anarchist, just so that people are always clear. Hard anarchist. My answer to everything is I know what to do best for me.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And I'm they're like, but what about the people who don't? I'm like, they got to figure that out. I know what's best for me, and I'm willing to help out people. I say help everybody out, share the resources as much as we can, but don't tell me what to do for me.
Right.
All you can do is help somebody. You can't tell them what to do. That's it.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm communism, social. I'm getting
sometimes you have to tell someone what to do to help them, though.
You can lead a horse to water. I'd be like, yo, there go the water.
Where? I'm blind. Right there. Help me. Sorry, the water's over there.
Told you where?
Where?
You got a bunch of sisters, man. You can hear the stream. You can see it if you can't.
Help me! I'm asking for help.
I was like, well then, buddy, survival of the fittest. Sounds like you're not gonna make it.
All I know is that all the thought police stuff, that's communism. We're talking about if you express dissent and you're overheard by somebody, and then you are taken away. That shit happens in China. That shit really happens.
Yeah. Now it's a different thing now. I think the Democrat, or just the entire mechanism that we have of they don't have to come for you. We're doing it ourselves. We're policing ourselves. They don't have to come up with a law for it. We've got this whole cancel culture, which keeps breaking down more and more to communities. And if you say something, you don't have to worry about the government coming for you, because we're going to do it ourselves. They didn't have to prove before anyone read the studies on the vaccine, before they did anything they just said, we got a vaccine, and people were like, you got to take it. If you don't take it, you selfish. They started making memes, so they don't even have to advertise the shit. Everyone's like, if you drank this in high school, you don't got to worry about what's in the vaccine.
Oh, yeah.
I promise you that was started at some marketing firm.
Oh,
like where, you know what I mean? Like they're just meme writing like propaganda group. They're like, oh no, here's the thing.
For sure.
They'll take it and run. Like they're doing all of the work for them, and we do the work for them and promoting what they tell us that we need, and then policing people for not doing it. And instead of just being like, literally every person that tries to argue with me, I go, take the vaccine. Yeah. I literally don't care what you do. Yeah. Take the vaccine.
Take it.
Do whatever you got to do for yourself.
This
is what I'm doing for myself. Period. Like,
yeah.
and literally my friend goes, and this what really struck out to me. I go, it's not your job to convince people to take this vaccine. And he goes, actually it is.
What?
Like, who the fuck hired you? And are they hiring? Cause like,
wait, he said it is?
He just believes that it's his job to convince people to take this vaccine.
Has he taken it?
Not yet. He can't wait though.
What's the ethnicity of your friend?
You know what the ethnicity. Ask no silly question. People walking around like it is my job.
Well, to be fair, Aston, he could have been talking about Troy Walker.
Back then, he out there doing a PR. He was like little fatigue, little tiredness. Well, for me, the stuff that he said wasn't bad was enough for me to be like, well, no thanks, because I'm not fatigued or tired right now.
Yeah. So Troy, you remember Troy, Mal? We had him on the podcast, like when pandemic. He was the one that was criticizing the plandemic. That woman, Judy Mikovits, who came out and was like saying that Fauci is like a scam or whatever, and which is true. But anyway, so that's a whole other podcast. So yeah, his whole. What'd you say?
I'm like, I might even like Fauci. Like, I'm not even like Fauci's done all his stuff and whatever, but it still don't mean that Fauci don't got an agenda bias. People
of course.
Whatever. I trust that he's a good dude. He's taking his Hippocratic oath and he's not trying to.
No, I don't trust that at all.
Maybe, but like, no. I try to believe that most people, and this is how I let myself get away with liking people that disagree with me. I truly believe that most people believe the shit that they're saying.
Yeah.
It's real hard for me to I'll still get mad at them, but like even like the toothless dude in the South with no job and 3 diseases yelling that he's better than me.
He believes it.
Right.
He believes it. He believes it from the bottom of his heart.
Yeah.
Right? And I can get mad at him, but he's just like, I believe this shit. Like the people that are telling me, the people that are like telling me I have to take this vaccine because they believe the shit.
Yeah.
And if it was my job, it would just be my job to explain to them where they're thinking and stuff. I ain't got the time for that shit.
Right. Troy. So wait, I want to get back to your friend that was fighting for the vaccine, but Troy, he just posted, Mal, on Twitter, just got the vaccine. I'm a little tired, fatigued, and what was the other word he used? Fatigued and something.
Yeah, day 1, he was a little fatigued. Day 2, he woke up with some soreness.
It was
day 3.
That good as new.
Yeah.
And then so I sent the tweet to you because I was like, Troy is so. Of all the people to get the vaccine, I'm like, I knew Troy would
get the vaccine.
I don't even know.
How did he get it?
I don't even know how he. Let me look up his tweet because I think he did some.
Is he a frontline worker now?
No. Troy is also he is not a lawyer. He is a lawyer, but he's not practicing law. He works at a bank right now. Let me.
A bank where they're also seeing COVID patients? How did he get the vaccine early?
You know, how they have a liquor store and a bank in the hood, they'd be conjoined? So it's like that. They got the bank and the COVID vaccine placed in the same. Okay, so this is what he says. He said, it's a clinical trial. He said, so this week I got a shot of as a yet unapproved COVID vaccine as part of a clinical trial.
What?
I have so many problems with that sentence just alone.
What black man in America who doesn't need the money is signing up for clinical trials? But 72 is when the Tuskegee experiment ended.
Exactly.
That was the CDC. The CDC did a 40-year experiment on black people in America that just ended in like our parents' lifetime.
Correct.
No.
Yeah.
And he
Correct.
said in the tweet he doesn't know if he was the placebo group or not, right?
Right. He just said, "Yep, double blind, so I can't be 100% sure I got the real deal." So,
Somebody's telling Troy he got syphilis.
I might text him right now. But the fact here's where we will never. If you say this and then we just can't. We're just not going to understand one another forever. The fact that you sat there and let somebody stick something in you and you have no idea what it is, and you sat there and volunteered for it, we're not going to see eye to eye on anything, because I don't understand why you would do that. I would never volunteer to do that.
I was at a party once and I was introduced to this black dude named King, and he handed me a pill, and I did take it. I asked him though. I did ask what it was.
What is this?
Oh, he said.
I don't know.
He said, I guess you don't want to take it then. And I was like, I had a great night.
And that's all it took. And that's all it
Black
took.
man named King. What's he gonna do to me? Like, you
Don't
know,
threaten me with a good time, King. I'll give you that shit.
The difference between that is that if you die from taking an unknown, an unlabeled pill, you're gonna die at least high and having a good time at a party. Like, let that be your.
in the hospital.
Yeah. I would rather go out that way than be like, I was an idiot who took a vaccine that they were working on for 3 weeks.
See, I always be saying that. I was like, they just came out with this vaccine yesterday, and you take it.
Yeah.
They started working on it today.
I listen to NPR in the morning, and they said that like the Moderna vaccine, they had over 30,000 trials, and I did find myself every time they say the number of trials they've done, I'm like, who is signing up for the trial?
Trials.
It's not ready yet. It's not fully cooked, but we're just gonna. Yeah, fuck it, go for it, We're right here.
I literally don't. If like somebody's cooking and they're like, "This is my first time making this," I don't even want to try. I'm like, "Well, let me know the second time. If it needs more paprika, come back. Give me that one." You're like, "Let's go try the first drug."
You gotta be. I think it's just the people that must be adrenaline junkies that do it.
No.
Snowboarding and driving fast don't do it for me anymore. Do you got any drugs that are half done that I could try?
I haven't taken enough risks this year.
Like if Tom Cruise was poor, so he couldn't do stunts in movies, he would be trying to do fucking vaccine trials.
He's gonna get that vaccine. You heard him. He's saving Hollywood himself. He just told you on that set.
Yes, he did. That was a lot. Meanwhile, he's part of an organization that is, from what I've heard, definitely involved with the sex trafficking, just like the Nexium cults and a lot of other. I mean, where is David Miscavige's wife? Still haven't found her. So they've been exposed. They've been exposed as well. But yet here he is, the smarter that's going to save everybody.
They'll all be exposed eventually.
I mean, a lot of it was already exposed in the documentary.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Right. Just the tip of the iceberg. As long as they're
still operating, I'm going to go ahead and say they're not exposed.
Oh, you're right. Okay, I'll go with that. I do want to talk about, because I don't know, like, because you and I see things so differently. Like it's frustrating. We've had these talks. Aston, I'll be like, Aston, we need to do a Zoom call tonight because I can't talk to regular people anymore. I just can't do it. And so I need to, I guess, start with where my distrust of what the establishment came from. And I've been aware, I think, of just all the awful things that the government is for a while now. But then in the pandemic, I just kept searching deeper and deeper and deeper and just saw I still don't even know how far it goes. I still only scratched the surface of, what the evil that exists. But I think what people, maybe just are in denial about is that, and which is also, I will say, this is what I'm about to say is also considered hate speech and taboo in this day and age, is that the world is run by groups of people, a certain amount of people. And we haven't even talked about this, but so I don't even know if you believe this or good, but this is what I believe. And I've seen enough evidence to believe that it is true, that there are families that control all the money. And these people, and there is evidence of these people getting together and meeting, and they basically decide on what's going to happen. They create disasters, they create chaos, they do whatever because they can manipulate everyone like puppets for their own personal gain and personal wealth. So that being said, they have created the left and the right, the two-party system. They've created these two because they know that they've got so much differing views that it's just there's gonna be arguing back and forth. If you pick one or the other, there's never gonna be peace, because what they stand for is the complete opposite of what you stand for. So there's just always gonna be arguing back and forth, and no one's focusing on the real problem, which is that we're all everyone is enslaved. Everyone is now basically just this little pawns. Well, I should say the politicians are the pawns, and then everyone else below that are the slaves that are being manipulated by these pawns. And if we really got together and came together and fought against the real enemy, which is these elites that run everything and that make these decisions, we could then overcome. But we can't even agree because we've got this two-party system where everyone wants to kill each other because no one can agree on anything. And so I think that's where what I believe that is. I can't even say that's just what I know. And so if you're not aware,
exactly what I think.
Yeah, okay, perfect. And if you're not aware of that and don't believe that, then it's really frustrating for me to have conversations with you, because that's just what exists. It's just what it is. And to argue that Biden is better than Trump, we can't have this conversation, because again, the left and the right work for the same people. They work for the same people. They're here to create chaos. And we need to stop talking about them and talk about how can we get out of the situations that we are in right now, because we are all just being played. We're all being played. Everyone's getting jacked. Everyone, when we pay taxes, they just jacking you. We don't have to pay taxes. Did you know that? We don't have to pay taxes. It's not written anywhere. But
they still gonna come arrest you and make you put on the case of your fucking life to try to prove that shit.
Of course.
But yes, you're correct.
Yeah, it's not written anywhere. We have to pay taxes.
They absolutely will. And I was saying that to someone the other day, and I'm like, yeah, like, because every time I argue with Democrats and Republicans constantly.
Yeah.
And they all like assume I'm on the other side because I'm arguing with them. And I'm like, the argument I'm trying to make to all of us is that we're literally like, we're the fucking same thing. And the whole point was to go, listen, if we create these two sides and make them seem different,
right?
The
Hegelian dialectic.
Yeah, you'll just miss the point.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of the things that they have us like argue over, the big things, aren't necessarily the big things. And I always say, like, watch all of the things that they come together on. Watch all of the things they have overwhelming agreement on.
Right.
Like just now, and I thought, I don't know what this is, but like, so like the new things going on with Trump, he wants to get rid of Section 230. It's got to be repealed so he can sue the internet companies. And he's trying to veto the NDAA, the defense spending bill, which is like awful. Like the NDAA is awful, right?
Right. Awful,
like the way it's written. When Obama approved it at midnight, like it's fucking awful, and they just keep raising the money on it. And the Democrats and the Republicans, who like allegedly cannot agree on anything, and we're so rigid, and it's so important that we have this split of who wins, and they were able to put together a veto-proof vote on the defense budget because they know what the fuck is important. It's only $150 billion less than the thing that all Americans need to survive, right? That they can't fucking figure out for the life of them. They can't even work it out to like agree a little bit. But the defense budget is like, we can.
Oh, for sure.
Together. And what was beautiful about this time is because Trump wants to veto it, that automatically puts like the left in the position of cheering for it. So when the NDAA gets passed with the overwhelming majority, now they go, yeah, fuck you, Trump. We got that defense budget through. And you're like, bro, you played.
You got played.
Going left to right.
That's what they do. That's the beauty of it. It's brilliant. And if you talk to like someone like Troy, his argument, because we talked about this, and that's when I was like, okay, we can't talk so much anymore. Is he believes like that they're not smart enough to pull off a scheme like that, and I'm like, it's working. Right. That's because it's working.
And then here's my thing on that too, because a lot of people do that argument with me, and I go like, all right, listen, things are like really fucked up, right? And the best argument that people have for me is that no, they're too incompetent to pull this off.
Yep.
And I go, well, then if they're incompetent, I don't need them anyway. Like, if you think they're too fucking stupid to pull something off, then no, I don't need you. And if you're pulling this off, I don't need you.
And why would I take a vaccine from you?
Right. And the other thing that I think is crazy, and like, this is like, so, the idea that there's this like this small group of people that are controlling everything.
Yeah.
Despite the numerous ways, like all of them always admitting to being in these meetings and saying that they can't talk about it. And yeah, we're in this secret society. And yeah, both presidential candidates were in the same secret society at the same time, but they can't talk about that shit. Like all this other stuff. Despite the fact that like at every bank, like, you know, like Barclays gets caught manipulating the currency, or, yep, you know, the pharmaceutical companies get in trouble for like deceiving people. And basically like every corporation we know of that's large gets in trouble for the various ways that they attempt to manipulate the public. They get caught, and we know they do it. We watch Facebook, yep, we watch all, and they're like, yeah, they're doing these intentional things to try to manipulate us. But then we think it's crazy if you go one level above to the government, right? And they go, yeah, they're doing the same thing. And they go, no, they wouldn't do that. Yeah, every other person in positions of power does this and gets caught. But it's insane of us to think the next level does it, but better.
Right.
Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like, and like that's fine. They have to run things like that. That's been the whole point of everything. Has always been the power struggle between the elite and like the working class, right?
Yes.
And the Constitution is built off the Magna Carta, which the Magna Carta was just like the agreement between the working class and the rulers to be like, nah, I need these certain rights for y'all to even rule over me, or I'm gonna rise up and kill you. And then like the Constitution is like a build upon that, and like that's why the guaranteed rights are to be like, we know all we do is gather power and run evil over y'all.
Yeah.
So like we have to have these things in place to stop us from doing it. And all our job is ever supposed to be doing is to make sure they don't erode that power and like make sure they don't run over us. And yeah, all their job is to find new ways to do it.
To run over us.
Yeah. And we've lost sight of that game. Like we've lost sight of that, and we've come to think that they're on our side.
How did that happen? When did that? I don't understand.
Good motherfucking PR. Like they straight up, it was like a legit PR game. They're like, we're going to like have you saying the Pledge of Allegiance in class. We're going to run these super patriotic shits. Like we're going to run these moves to make y'all like be on our side. As opposed to like, you know, 400 years ago, it was like clear. They were like, yo, fuck this government.
Right.
They're only ruling over us by force, and they're like, we can find a better way, and they found a better way.
Right.
And I was like, just put them against each other.
Right. Do you what's your I want to hear both of your opinions about crisis actors.
Hold on. I was just talking to someone. Listen, crisis actors, I don't even get into it. I don't even get into it. Here's one. My first thing is this. I believe they're evil, so I think they'll just kill people. I think they'll just go through and kill people.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't think they need to pretend to kill, like, because, like, I was talking to some girl who lived down the street from Pulse, the Pulse shooting, and she was like, I was there, all actors, none of that shit happened, entirely fake. She was like, I was in fucking Florida, I lived, like, down the street from that town, I was in the town when the whole thing was going on, all of it was fake. And I was like, what do you, and she's like, no, I believe this is real, I believe this other thing, I believe this is real, but I was
But that one specifically was
I was here for this and this was fake. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't know, like, that's what she's saying, but I also think that we're evil enough that if we were going to set something up around that, that we would just go through and kill them people. Like, I don't give a fuck. 55 gay people, let them go. We let the AIDS epidemic run. What do I give a fuck? Go shoot them. Like, for whatever it is, go kill them.
Right.
So that's, but otherwise I try not to get into it because I don't want to find myself being that person yelling about crisis actors when somebody got a dead 4-year-old at home.
Yeah.
I just that person.
Mal, you knew what crisis actors were? Or no, are you just finding out about them now?
Yeah, Candice, I believe you probably sent me something about this.
No, I did not.
I have to plug in my laptop.
Someone sent me something about this. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never sent you because I'm still like trying to make up my, I know that crisis actors exist, but I don't think it's for every event that occurs like a lot of people do.
Yeah, I don't.
I've seen some compelling stuff.
You what?
Yeah.
I've seen compelling stuff about
sure.
it. Like, I've seen some stuff that I'm like, okay, that's sketchy.
Yeah.
For sure.
But
I've seen. I mean, I've watched a couple of videos that have been sent to me about crisis actors, and the thing
Did
about.
you see me in one of the videos? That's how I got my SAG-AFTRA.
Excellent work. Excellent work. Your
Was I making this?
Your performance was moving, Candice. The thing about now and video stuff like that is like it's so easy to fake it and and that's the thing that's where you really just have to I don't know, it really tests your faith on like what you're seeing and what you believe, and it's like I like to believe that shit is not real.
Yeah. And
I would like to.
Too, the thing with the fake, the thing that always throws me, every time they say the shootings are faked to take away our guns.
Yeah.
That's where you throw me because the motivation is wrong. Or like the outcome is different from what they say the motivation is, because literally every time, like there's been no greater marketing tool or advertising tool for the AR-15
than
the shootings.
The shootings.
Right? The AR-15 is the American answer to the AK-47, which is like the #1 selling gun in the world. That's the AK-47. The AR-15 is an American-made gun.
Mm-hmm.
And every time there's a shooting with the AR-15, every single time, the only result, and there's been no meaningful gun legislation after all of these shootings. There's been absolutely
none.
And every time there's a shooting, gun sales go through the roof.
Yeah.
They talk shit about, they're going to come take your guns. People get scared about them taking their guns, and they go out and buy more guns. And that's the only thing that happens every time. So every time people are like, these shootings are happening, so they take our guns, I'm like, but they ain't taking them. Y'all just keep buying more.
Right.
So if anyone's doing it, I'm like, it's an AR-15 advertisement.
Yeah, I can't say that that's the reason why, but I think it is probably just to create more fear in people and chaos. And I think that is the more, not clear, but like on a broader sense of what is the goal here. Like you're scaring people. And that's all you need to manipulate people is fear. So whatever that is, like just scare the shit out of them like they're doing with Corona.
Works exceptionally well.
It works so well. You sent Troy to get a vaccine, so it works. Some people, he couldn't wait. He was outside like he was in line for the Yeezy. He was like, please stick me first.
Whatever you got. I don't know what you got back there. Give me some.
It sounds like Troy did not get the vaccine, though. It sounds like he got the half-cooked vaccine.
A vaccine with an F.
Off-brand.
But if that helps you sleep better at night, we have to wrap this up pretty soon. But there's so much to talk about. But also, can we talk about that the vaccines? Just because you got the vaccine doesn't mean you're not going to get COVID. Like, vaccines have never been a 100% prevention of getting the disease. It just means now that your body's creating the antibodies for it. But if you know anything about viruses, they mutate. So whatever vaccine that you got, it's gonna change. It's gonna adapt and be like, oh, this thing's trying to fight me, so I'm gonna change so it can't fight me anymore. So now
a new strain that came out of UK. And the other thing too is I wish. This is just like a part of, and I guess they wouldn't do this because they want everyone to get it, but Pfizer initially said it was like 95 to 99% effective. And then after the FDA did all their tests, they were like, actually it's 82%, it's moving down. But obviously the news isn't going like 82%. And
No,
but
no.
like that's like what when they did their studies and didn't listen to the people that made the thing. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's actually 82%, but you're never going to hear that, and people are
Yeah.
going to tell you it's 99% effective, and you're
Yeah.
selfish for taking this
Yeah.
99%
Right.
effective
I mean,
thing.
I think we're in a situation now where it's like, since the cases and the deaths are rising at basically an exponential rate, if you look
Yeah.
at these graphs, we're in a desperate times, desperate measures
Deaths are not
sort
rising.
of
Deaths are not rising.
situation.
Cases are
And
rising.
it's,
Deaths are falling. Continue.
and
Oh, deaths are rising, Candice. Look at something.
yeah,
Deaths are up.
yeah.
Oh, you
And
mean from MSNBC and CNN? Yeah, deaths are up.
They are up. And here's the thing I think too, right? I love all the conspiracy theories.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think there's more people dying than they're talking about. I think
Oh.
they tell you because there's a whole lot of deaths. Like people are like everything gets marked as corona. No matter what you die for right now, it's corona.
Yeah.
I've had so many people die on me this year. I've had like a lot of people die on me this year. I've been
From COVID?
None of them from COVID, but at least 4 of them. 4 of them just died.
From what?
Healthy. My cousin I talked to on a Tuesday, he died on a Wednesday, and because of corona, they can't get the autopsy back because it's not listed as corona, but he just died. My other friend, she just died in her sleep. My other friend's mom, no health issues, just had a stroke at not an old age. Another friend's mom just died. Like people are just dying and they're not labeling it as corona. I've never had more people die in my life in a year ever.
Yeah, but you're not taking into consideration the stress levels. People are stressed out from their jobs, the suicide level. Like all of these things need to be taken into consideration.
No. I've had the most suicides I've had in a year as well this year. The suicides are a different group of people. Suicides are for sure up, but also people it could be stress, it could be this, it could be that, but I also think we're dealing with something that we don't necessarily and I'm talking about personal experience. I haven't checked the numbers. I am looking for a place where I can find the daily death tolls, which I think is weird now at this point that we are tracking daily deaths, that there should be a place where I can find how many people just died generally per day, because I know it's like an average of 7,000. If we're at 3,000 now, if we're at 10,000 deaths a day, then that's a 50% increase. It's fucking huge. It's really big.
For sure, but I would also you lost me, not you, but the media and the doctors and whoever lost me when, again, and you mentioned this a couple of seconds ago, but when they were labeling people as dying of COVID that didn't die of COVID.
Right.
So we know they admitted that they're doing that. So you lost me right there. I can't trust anything you say anymore. I can't trust anything you say.
Right.
So how are we supposed to have faith in anything? And also, what happened to the flu? Where's the flu? There are no flu cases anymore. Are they getting lumped? Those deaths, flu deaths, are now probably getting lumped in with COVID deaths.
It's like a low flu year, I think.
I mean, it could be because people aren't interacting the way they're normally interacting.
Well, then how is COVID still getting? How are the numbers of COVID going up with the flu going down? That don't make sense.
Letting niggas go to Florida and Arizona and come back to LA. Everybody in LA, we did a lockdown, and then we just let everybody just go to all the fucked up places and come back here. I mean, I don't know. None of it makes sense.
None of it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the logical thing to me, as far as the cases is concerned, is like you look at a place like New Zealand or Australia where they're like, okay, we're all going to wear masks and we're going to do this lockdown and try to let this thing pass, or like whatever measures that they took there, and they took in South Korea, and they took in all these places that have sort of been hit really hard, had a tough time, and then sort of saw it peter off, right? But the common denominator for all those places, from what I know, is that they all just sort of followed the same thing as a country.
As a country.
All in lockstep, like, okay, we're all gonna take these measures, so as a community we don't have mass casualties.
Yeah.
Well, where we fail in America is with our freedom. Every freedom in America is a very selfish thing. A lot of people hide behind freedom, but they're really just selfish. And so instead of wearing the mask, I'm free, I don't have to do that. So they then willy-nilly go out into society with the other people that are free and are continuing to spread this thing when we could have probably squashed it if as a country.
Yeah.
But from the top, you got the president saying, well, they say you should wear a mask. I'm not going to wear a mask. And you got fucking 70 million people in America that are like, well, if he's not going to wear a mask, I'm not going to wear a mask.
Yeah.
And so now we're in a situation where it's like this thing is still spreading as if it was March, and desperate times, desperate measures. Now these people are like, well, I think this is close enough with this vaccine. And enough people on the other side are desperate enough where they're just like, yeah, well, let's fucking, anything is better than being locked in my house for another fucking year where half the people are trying to be safe like I am, and then half the people are just fucking going to Florida for spring break and coming back. It's like, you can't.
And that's what everyone keeps going. Like, I know some people who are like, I just trust the science. And I know some people are like, I just want to get back to normal. Just anything to get back to normal. And like, sadly, I want to tell them, like, I don't think that's coming anytime soon.
Yeah, normal's gone. Yeah.
Because the like you said, the reason why we're in the position that we're in right now as a country is because we couldn't uniformly get something down to keep our cases down to be in a reasonable place.
That's like the freedom thing. You know what I mean? Like it's you know, Candice believes what she believes, you believe what you believe, and it's like you can't, like, as Americans, it's hard for us to come together with differing opinions on one common good, because we're like, well, mine is a common good, so why don't you just do what I want? And it's like, well, why don't we just do this general thing? And it's like, well, I don't want to do that, so I'm not going to do it, because you can't tell me what to do.
Right.
And that's, and you know, that's people that are good-hearted people that are well-intentioned. That's fucking selfish, just kind of stupid, uneducated people, but they both share that they're not going to do what the one thing is. And so now, you know, it's a compound issue. And now here we are, not being able to gather with extended family without the risk of the fear of, you know, passing this, spreading the virus more.
Right.
That's how I see it. And I don't think I'm not like an over political. I don't have time to fucking research this shit because I'm trying to keep this boy alive. But I just try to, you know, you could call me naive because I live in a very do unto others as you would wish to be done to you. That's like how I go through life. And I understand that not everybody does that, but I just try to control. That's what I can control. So it's like, that's sort of what I do. So you tell me wearing a mask is going to protect my community from receiving this, whether I have it or not, I'm going to wear the mask because I'm just going to try to do what's best for everyone around me, because that's what I would want people to do for me. Care for your neighbor. And that's what we don't do.
And right, and like for me, like a lot of people get upset about the mask thing. To me, the mask, one, I'm like, all right, fine, like I can wear it. Like for me to, I don't know which, like I think the mask thing is good, right? I got my mask on here, I wear my Joan all the time. But the inconvenience for me, I think it's annoying, I hate it, and I got to run in the house, and I can't stand having it on. Like I really can't stand it.
Yeah.
But the convenience versus the inconvenience versus the potential cost, like the benefit or the risk to it, I'm like, I can just wear this and not be terribly inconvenienced. It's not ruining my life to do it, right? I'm more inconvenienced by wearing pants than I am. You don't
feel like your freedoms are being infringed upon? That's what it is. That was the whole mask thing.
We were like, oh, like you're taking my freedoms away.
Yeah. Like
completely disregarding all the millions of other, were you screaming that when you had to go to the DMV this year?
Right.
Seatbelts. There's a bunch of things that you're forced to do that you don't want to do, but you just do it. Somebody sent
put pants on every day, and that's not even saving lives.
Yeah.
Arrested if you walk out of your house without pants. And it's
your balls mask up every day.
Every
and you
day.
Say shit.
No health and safety.
Yeah. Somebody sent me.
Want to look at your balls.
Someone sent me a thing at the beginning of the pandemic. They were like, "Well, masks aren't even proven to work, and this is this like just." And I'm like, but what if they do? Have you thought about like what if it does work? Because you're not a scientist,
Right.
and it's like, yeah, well, everybody gets because of the way social media works. We all get news from sources that will please us because that's how the algorithm works. So it's like she believed 100% masks don't work. And it's like, but this country just told you over here that all they did was wear masks
Yeah.
and fucking distance, and they don't, you know, now they're living free like normal. Yeah, well, masks don't work because I read a thing that says they don't work. And it's like,
Yeah, no, I mean,
cool.
even if they stop, let's say if you cough without a mask on, 100% of the germs will come out, right? But if you wear a mask, 40% will come out, right?
Right.
You're helping. It's
That's
not
math.
stopping all
That's
of them.
easy
Right.
math.
Right.
And then also the other thing about freedom, and this is like for me personally, my thing, as this whole thing keeps going on, I continue to just make the best decision for me. And like for me, that is if I walk into a room and there's a bunch of people, I turn around and walk out the room. And I decide who I'm gonna bump hands with. I'm gonna stand far from you. I'm gonna wear my mask. I'm gonna be like, oh, like, and I live downtown, so I have to encounter people all the time. Like I have to walk my dog a bunch of times a day. I'm always around people. I keep my distance. Like, oh, you over there, I'm over here. The other day I was like, they're building a studio around here, and I went to go check out the podcast studio for it. And he was like, come down. I walked down there with 8 people down there. I walked in. I saw 8 people. I was like, oh, what's up? Cool. This is studio space. This is that. All right, y'all. I'm gonna leave, dip out, right? Like we have to like start I also didn't feel the need to walk in the room and go, oh, y'all got to put a mask on. What the I'm in the room.
Right.
I'm in the room. I chose.
Right.
Yeah. Like for Thanksgiving, I went to we were going to a friend's house. A lot of people couldn't gather, and me and 4 friends got together for Thanksgiving. Another guy wanted to bring his family. And he goes, oh, I don't want to bring my family here. When's the last time y'all got tested? Who have you been around? If I bring a test, will you guys take a test? And I said, no, stay the fuck home.
You stay home.
Stay home.
You stay home.
You got a family. First of all, you have a family. So what the fuck you got to come over here?
Why are you bringing your family?
Right. So just stay home. And like, that's it. If I'm scared to death of what's going on here, I'm just not going to leave my house.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's also a choice. Like we all like, I agree that like, all right, people should be doing all the stuff that they need to do. And I hope that they do. But I'm also like, I can't be bothered out here yelling at everybody, pulling.
There are people on the other side though, where you will show up and you see people wearing, you see that there's people there, so you put your mask on, and then there will be people in that party that are like, why are you wearing a mask? There's like mask shame people that are like, why are you wearing a mask? Like, it
just
goes
let everybody
both ways.
just do what you want to do. That's what it all boils down to. Let people.
But that's the reason why we're in this problem that we're in.
But we can't control that. But we can't control that. You literally can't control everybody. That you just can't.
I know, but that's my point. It's like the reason why we're here is because that thinking is what so many people have. It's like, well, I can't control it. So like if everybody took responsibility, then we could move forward as a unit. Right. But since everybody is allowed to, because we're American, to have our own opinion and point of view, then every state did something different to try to fight this thing. Like every town did it. Every family did something.
For sure, but also like it is just the people who are in charge, and I'm not just gonna blame Trump because he fucked up, but everybody, all these leaders fucked up. You expect me to trust Gavin Newsom, who was just telling everybody, shutting businesses down, locking everybody down, yet he's at a dinner party inside. Nobody had a mask on?
Hold on. Here's the other thing about that dinner party too, though, right? So like Gavin Newsom's having that thing. Even the lady that had her restaurant and, she was like, they shut down her restaurant. And then right next door, they okayed a film.
Mm-hmm.
You worked on sets.
Yeah.
You know how much they test you before them, Johns.
Yeah.
You know, like the protocol, like the dinner that Gavin Newsom went to.
Mhm.
I went to everybody at that dinner got tested, and you can't say this. But here's the thing.
You can say it.
We make laws, we pass laws and rules, and like again, I don't agree with this because I'm like I can decide what's best for myself, and so I'm not going to assume that someone else does it. But the reason we make laws and rules is because we have people that won't, like, unless you tell them
for sure
this is what to do. Like they say, you have to stay home, don't talk to anyone, don't wear a mask, don't do this. They can't go, listen, if you went out and you got tested reasonably, you washed your hands a lot, you wore your mask and stayed away from people, you'll be fine. Because people would take that and go, I can do whatever I want, take their mask off, do this. So we gotta say the harshest rules because most people don't know how, like, won't do that shit, right?
Right.
I'm sure that Gavin Newsom going, hey, y'all all gotta stay home. He knows that people's gonna go, all right, I can do this little safety shit or whatever.
Yeah.
I agree with the manipulation of it, but I also agree. I also agree. I'm pretty sure that all the niggas got a test before.
My argument to that is that these tests have been proven time and time again to not be accurate.
Oh yeah,
so,
there's like different tests, and not all of them are good.
So what are we talking about? You cannot sit here and get mad at people for that. This whole thing is so fucked up on so many levels.
Yeah.
That you can't trust anything. So like to say, yeah, it's because people are not, abiding by the rules of wearing the masks and lockdown. Well, right now, California is the strictest lockdown, right? If we're on the strictest lockdown, how are the numbers still the highest they've been? And when I go out,
you have counties that are like literally going like, we're not going to do the lockdown. Don't worry. You're not going to be shut down. You're not going to be arrested. You don't have to follow these rules. And in those counties, those people are just going, fuck it. Yeah, fuck Gavin Newsom. And they're continuing to spread this virus.
Is the epicenter. Like,
what did you say?
It doesn't make sense to me that LA is the epicenter. It is one thing that I am struggling to wrap my head around.
Same.
Like Orange County makes sense, and I get that we're so close to Orange County and there's like mingling and stuff.
Right.
It shouldn't be the epicenter.
I agree. That's why another reason why I don't trust it.
But again, I still just operate the way I operate and hope we get it together at some point.
I'm looking out for me. I'm doing what I need to do, whatever, but I'm doing what the mass social distance. I'm not going out, whatever. But everywhere, if I go to pick up food or something, every time I go out, like I have a podcast somewhere that I have to go and do, everywhere I go, Santa Monica, Burbank, where everyone's wearing a mask, everyone's socially distancing. So again, to me, and to know how many liberals are in LA and that everyone is like so strict about Corona, to make LA the epicenter makes absolutely no sense to me, which is why, again, I don't believe what we're being told. I can't. It doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah, never believe what you're being. I just generally, as a rule, never believe anything.
Yeah. And that is why we will never, this is life, the rest of life now. This is it, guys.
But the main reason, I never believe anything except for I'll always be like, oh yeah, I'm sure they would do something that evil. Like people they wouldn't do something like that. I'm like, I don't know, why wouldn't they?
The people that killed how many people? Over 3,000 people in 9/11. They wouldn't, for personal gain. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't.
I mean, listen, we don't even have to go to conspiracy theories. We can literally.
That's not even a conspiracy theory.
I know that. I'm aware of that. But I mean,
that's just facts.
For the sake of the people that think that is. We all do agree that George Bush started.
You mean idiots?
But the fact that everyone will sit here and agree oh yeah, George Bush literally invaded a whole country off of bad intelligence, off of a beat. There's full agreement on that. There's complete agreement. You sacrificed thousands of American soldiers' lives and about 1 million Iraqi lives and all the destabilization to the region off of a lie, and we're all aware of that. So I'm I wouldn't put it past them to be whatever the fuck else, anything else.
Right.
If you're willing to sacrifice, I don't think they consider my life to be that meaningful.
No, exactly. That's what when has the government ever looked out for you? That's all I gotta say.
And that I was telling someone that the other day, I said, tell me an instance where the government has earned your trust.
Yes.
Tell me an instance where they have done something for people without the people fucking forcing them to it. And then they give the slightest capitulation just to be is that enough? And we go, sure, fine, and we move on. But there's never been like this voluntary, we're just here to help. It's never happened. I can't.
No.
Yeah.
These stimulus checks to let you know right now.
And
what you gonna do with your $600?
I don't know how long we, I'm going to the fucking EDD scam guy. He told me for $400 he can get me $12,000 to $24,000 for $400. And I'm like, well, they're giving me $600, so I got change. We good. I'm gonna get my stimulus.
You know how much Vaseline you're gonna be able to get with that money.
Tub. He's gonna get a hot tub full of Vaseline. You guys, on that note.
Yeah.
We've gone so long, but this was so good, and thank you for coming, Aston, because sometimes I just be needing a vent.
Yeah. I've been needing it.
Well, you're welcome. Tell everybody one more time where they can find you on social media.
Social media at Fast Ramon on everything, and then that's FASTRAMONE. And look for a new episode of FPRK Radio coming out in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
That was Fuck Politics.
Fuck Politics, Religion, and Kanye.
Religion and Kanye.
But don't come expecting no Kanye hate.
No. That's
like, yeah, fuck Kanye. I was like, not the podcast for that. Yeah.
Oh, in defense of Kanye. Mal, one more time, where can people find you?
malhall.com, at malhall on social media, malhall TV on YouTube.
And I have been Jokes by Candice, guys. That's where you can find me on social media. Subscribe if you haven't done that. We're on all podcast platforms. Rate and review us on iTunes. Go to YouTube, subscribe there, because I'm posting on my personal channel. And if you haven't told somebody about the struggle, go ahead and do that. If anything that was said during this podcast today offended you, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Know that. Your feelings mean nothing to me. Hopefully you took something away from it. Anyway, till next time, guys. Thanks.
Later.
Bye.